And we are live.
Hey y'all, Tracy from the motherhouse.org.
And I am Tagg, the holistic practitioner or artist, excuse me, because it's all about the art of living. And I'm with kissmyartsy.com. And so we were just discussing our night and how it went because we had a deep conversation yesterday. And Tracy was telling me that she woke up around 3 o'clock this morning, and instead of staying in bed, um, she decided to get up and do some things business related, and then also um, home related that had her cleaning out the basement space. And she created this uh, essence of letting the light shine through. And I know it just sounds kind of corny, but it had to do with a window. And so I was explaining to her that 3 o'clock is a divine number, well, the number three. And so she was supported by the universal forces, source, or, whatever, God, whatever you want to associate that with, to assist her in making changes to her business and also personal space. And I was telling her that in the natural world, there's actually five elements, because you have the four elements that we all know, which is earth, air, water, fire, or light. You can call fire light because it's not burning, it's actually the sun. And then of course, you have the ethers. Well, I forgot about the sun, my bad. It's just a dim light, but still it's part of the same. So in Tracy's world, there is the divinity, which is father, mother, child. And she, as a person, a being, makes up that fourth element, which is the ethers. Because in the natural world, the ethers is the unknown, unseen, unfelt. It's an intuitive type of energy. And with her being a being, well, since we are human beings, the day is unknowing. It unfolds. It's the present. It's the gift of life to be able to exercise free will and see what the day has in store for it. You can make the decision of speaking over your life and your intentions for that day, and grounding yourself to stay within your own personal power or energy or groundedness, sacredness. Or you can just let the world have its way with you and be reactive instead of responding to life for that day. So that's where that topic was headed.
Thank you. Nicely said, Tag. I love that. A couple of things that I was thinking about as I was listening to you explain that was, I liked how you went. I liked where you went with the unknown space where it unfolds in the daylight, because I think that a lot of times we think that the unknown space or the shadow is only in the dark and only in the moonlight and only, and and I think it does have a presence in both day and light. And it is that kind of that yin yang symbol where there is a little bit of darkness in the light and there is a little bit of light in the darkness.
Right. Yes.
So yay. And also the other piece that I can appreciate is you calling the being the ether, because a lot of times, at least for me, when I think of the ether, I always think of like the space in between. And so I am selfish. I'm a selfish person, and I'm very self-absorbed, and I have a hard time seeing anything outside of my own perspective. And I know that about myself. That's a gift I have in the world. Sometimes it's a gift, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But anyways, it really helps me to see outside of that selfish perspective that the ether is not only outside of me, but it is also
Within.
me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. So thoughts are like the wind.
So
And-
I've heard God explained as the wind, where if you like, you can't hold on to it, which is interesting.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But, you know, you can either walk with it.
Or let it flow through you, or you feel the presence. Yeah.
Yes. And so when a storm is happening and the winds are high, think of it internally as chaos. Well, just rapid panic. It's like panic, and it triggers the emotions, and so your thoughts can become scattered. You go into emotionally, you go into a fight or flight. The body reacts through the gut, and all of a sudden things were going well, and now you're either running for your life or you're fighting for your survival.
There's a lion chasing you.
Yeah, you have the choice to take refuge, take cover and reground yourself. But it takes a lot of self-awareness to say, okay, time out. Give me a minute. And to change those thoughts quicker or sooner than versus later, so it doesn't consume you, of course, is breath work. And you start breathing into it so your body can start grounding, and then it handles your emotions. And so there's plenty of techniques to get you where you need to be, but it's kind of hard to listen to yourself and when the world around you is going chaotic, when it's out of your control. It just goes to show you that self-control comes from within. Of course, we have the choice, the free will, to continue letting life, beat us up, or we can control our emotions. You can do that through music, through breathing, through water, to calm the body, like in a reverse, if you just cannot find yourself able to breathe. I've been there lots of times. I don't think there is a day that I cannot say I didn't have to put forth some type of practice in order to reestablish myself whole.
Same.
Yeah.
Same every single day. And it wasn't always like that.
No.
It wasn't always like that. I came into this world, I was a free spirit as a child, and little pieces, through trauma, through experience, through even through I would say even through my happiness, and just kind of the and something that I was told by the universe recently was, really, I need to pay attention to how I am in the extremes. And so I've just always been bouncing back and forth in the extremes, from joyful, over joyful, to we'll say anxiety to depression, really. And I did not have any routines, any God pauses or source pauses where I was able to see myself and see my environment or see anything, to be honest with you. All I saw was, I mean, I guess what I would say is I was so stuck in the emotion itself that um, I could not tend to myself, and I could not support my environment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so now I really love that I have been, that I have practices that I've learned to incorporate in my daily routine, in my daily life. And I think the last thing, I don't want to say the last thing because it's been interwoven through the whole process, but I'm really, really focusing now on my relationship with
Mm-hmm.
because I think that I really love the relationship I have with myself right now. And it took a long time to get there. But there's definitely some work that I'm buttoning up with paying attention to how I respond to the world and how I breathe with others. Yeah. Did you see okay, so yesterday, I'm just going to bring back some of yesterday because we did a card reading yesterday. And what we got out of the card reading, for the most part, we talked about it a bit at the end, was acceptance. At least that's kind of what I got. And I did look up a Kundalini for acceptance. I don't know if you saw it, but I sent it to you. And I did it. And there was three poses in it. There was one where you have your hand here and your hand here.
Yes.
Right. And then there was another one where you have like your hands out like this. And then there was another one where you have your hands like this. And for me, like I do a lot of yoga, but I still am all effed up in my head when I have to when I feel the resistance. And with the holding those poses, I did it yesterday. Like you have to hold it for 3 minutes. You think like 3 minutes, come on, right? And 3 minutes, I'm like in my head, like, this is stupid. I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, what the heck is wrong with you? And I realized that is what my mind sounds like with any acceptance right now. And it's not in the right place.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yes. I had a conversation with acceptance and came up with a declare and decree to really embrace that, because I believe the card had indicated something like, gosh, I can't remember.
Wait, which card was it? There was the Queen on the top, Anima Mundi in the middle, and then on the bottom it was the nectar or the potion, the nectar of life.
So we did 3 cards, and the beginning, the middle, and the end. Mm-hmm. So the beginning and the middle, or the beginning and the end, was the same. I think it was. I want to see it was the. Was it acceptance? I think
the last one was the biggest part of the acceptance piece. It was the nectar, and it was what it said was accept everything, reject nothing.
Oh, right, acceptance. Yes. Right. So, during that, I made that conversation, I made a declare and decree to accept that the world is what it is. My job isn't to change it. My job is to be a vessel. And rejection, that is because I've rejected a lot, just to maintain my personal peace.
And the other piece about that, real quick, I'm just going to interject these couple of words, is not only have I rejected a lot of things, but I've also felt rejected by a lot of things.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah. Like the apartment thing that I was going through. That wasn't a no. And I knew I had to sit in that energy to not take it personal, to feel like I was being rejected, when really it wasn't ready for alignment yet. And so even though I wanted it, I still needed to go through the process of aligning myself to be able to move forward with the objective of, okay, it could still be no. And if it's still no, that's the answer I have to accept. I can't reject that answer and force it and make it and, use this sense of entitlement to throw my weight around to get what I want. That's really a temper tantrum,
I mean, you could, but
it wouldn't
would have specific consequences.
Right. Yeah. I could have done that. And you're right. The consequences could have been a water leak, things breaking down in the apartments, and a bug manifestation, and there's all these things that could happen if I had pursued it in an entitlement way.
Because what you're saying is there is this the undercurrent kind of feels this karmic thing, and if we go against what we feel is right, if we knowingly or unknowingly, but if we knowingly, we know that all of these other things could happen because it's trying to show us that we need patience and all of the virtue and all those things, and it pops up in these other signs and symptoms.
Right. Okay. Right. Exactly. Yes. That energy has to go somewhere. So it's going to appear in the physical world.
Oh, that is clever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah.
Gotta watch out for stuff like that. Yeah. So and the point of feeling it is knowing that you're ready. When how you know that you're ready, it just, everything is just easy, it just aligns. It's not a thought process. It is a feeling process. And the world teaches us to think instead of feel. So, after that whole ceremony that I did and my declare and decree, I definitely felt the shift. I felt the shift. And, I got up I woke up around 5, it was 5:25. And I looked up that, because when you wake up, you're now in the physical world.
That's also a 3, right?
5:25.
Oh no, that's 12, right? That goes to a 3.
5:25, I think, is 9.
10. 5 and 5 is 10. Plus 2 is 12.
12. So plus it's 3. Yeah. Okay. Divine number. Okay. All right. So this morning when I woke up, it's like a portal. Numbers are portals for what that number represents and bring forth. That's why it's important to know what your birth time is. because that is your genetic portal to go within, check in with yourself, meditate.
Wait, what's your birth time?
It's 4:55.
Okay, so that's 14. That's a 5. Love the number 5. Mine is 12:28. So that would be 3, 5, 13. I think it's a 4. Okay. So you're 5 and I'm 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So there's always a constant craving of change, you know?
That's what a 5 is. Change. That, I mean, at least that's a portion of it. That's kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sometimes
they call it the number of the senses too.
the number of the senses. Yes. And I have 2 ways to create a constant change in my life. And it could be through shadow, you know, destruction. But I don't want to label shadow as a destruction, because it isn't. But it can be chaos, you know, because it's
It's not always bad, and destruction's not always bad either. Sometimes, like, we have to destroy old buildings, or we have to destroy certain things in life to rebuild or dismantle, you know, the stagnant energy, so that it can disperse into wherever it needs to go to better serve.
Yes. So just when you destroy something, you don't necessarily have conscious awareness of, you know, the towers that are going on around you. However, if you're conscious about it, you have choice and direction to follow in order to make those changes. So I'm very aware of both, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I forgot where I was going with this, but so, you know, 4:55, the whole number.
You were talking about, before I rudely interrupted you, you were talking about how our birth time is a portal.
Right. Okay. So with 4:55 being PM, I switch it over to military time. 6:50. Yes.
18:55.
Right. So you have
That's a 17. So that would be an 8. Okay.
8. Remember, I was having dreams with the 8, the figure.
Yes. Okay.
So that is another, it's like the essence of your birth time.
And it I mean, there's so many components that you can bring in with the numbers and the time of birth, mean in, like, even like the sunlight and where the sun was and where the moon is. Like, because I'm born at 12:28, which is the peak midday, right? And so, like, I know that, like, that also plays a bit into my portal, and I would say even my place and time and place and date. I mean, it all, like, creates what the specific portal that is your fingerprint, right?
Yes.
And okay, so, and so interesting. And so, like, the portal would be like, it's the portal from wherever into the earth.
Yeah.
It's right. Is that what you're saying? Like, it's our portal, but it's created by all of these different components. Well, these are like systems to help you understand
right
what the portal looks like or feels like, or
a more intentional kind of way of being, of living. Okay. So you can tap into all kind of energies that you want to embody and bring it forth in your 3D world and see it. You just like it's like you're planting seeds. You're managing the garden of the day.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because this was a part of, and I love you brought up the garden, and maybe we can bring that up in just a second, but I love the piece that I was just thinking about was all of these systems, all of this information that I and many people gather to learn self is great. It's wonderful. It gives direction. It helps with the obstacle course of life. But the one thing I was thinking about this morning when I woke up at the divine number of 3 was I know that I know all this stuff,
Mhm.
and I need to release that knowing because sometimes it gets so overwhelming with the seeking and bringing in stuff that I have to get back to the beginner's mind and just it's all there. I don't need to have it in the forefront. I don't need to like be constantly drawing from this anymore. I can now just release and get just like be with the simple fundamentals of like, it all. Which
Mhm.
is, are you eating? Are you sleeping? Are you joyful? Right. And so like for me anyways, and I feel like this is for everybody because we're all in this kind of spiral type of way of life where it's this contraction where you're like picking up it's if anybody knows what a labyrinth is, um it what a labyrinth is used for in ceremony is it's like it's a maze and you walk in
Mhm.
and to get to the center you have an intention before you enter. You
Right.
get to the center, you like spend time with this intention or releasing whatever you need to do in the center, give it a piece of your hair whatever, a rock maybe.
Mhm.
And then you walk out, and as you're walking out you're shedding all of the things that no longer serve.
Yeah.
And I feel like in my life, I could apply the labyrinth to my life when I'm in this developmental phase of something.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Now that's where I am.
Yeah. Yeah. So this morning when I got up, I felt the shift physically. My body is becoming lighter and lighter and lighter.
Okay, cool.
Um, the dogs, especially this one right here,
So that one's never in your arms. Okay, so what's her name?
Gidget. Her name
Yes.
is Gidget.
Okay.
Gidget
Okay.
is always on patrol. She can be, a real asshole.
Beauty.
But this morning when I got up, she greeted me like she hadn't seen me in years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is profound.
Yeah. So on an energetic level, she felt it too.
Yeah.
Oh
Love it.
my
I
God,
got goosebumps everywhere. Ooh.
you're back.
Oh, I love that for you. I love that for you. And I love that for Gidge.
Yeah.
And, and the other dog might feel it a little bit because now you're going to have more balance. And it seemed like that one was. And you know what? Feel it probably in a good way. She'll be able to get a little more independence instead of always, being the only one that has seen you, that sees you, and now gets to be a part of that too. That's
Yeah.
great. Love that.
But Bama, she the brown one, I don't know if you can see her or not, but or she's gray. She's always embodied that energy, of just self-love. She has to sit on things that are soft. She has to lay on things that are cushiony. you're not going to catch her laying on the ground and being uncomfortable. She just won't. She refuses to be uncomfortable. And
that's not always a good thing. I mean, we need to have the balance. And so that's what I'm saying. Like she might feel the uncomfortableness when you are appearing more whole to bring Gidge a little closer, and Bama might feel that.
Gidget causes her to be uncomfortable, you know.
Yeah, love
She will throw a monkey wrench in her plans in a minute, you know, if she's too comfortable.
That's great. It'll be interesting to see how the next couple of weeks go for the energy.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that too with the characters in my environment. So I have the only apartment in this house, and I believe that the house has her own. She's her own entity. Her name is God, I haven't talked to her in a while. What the hell is her name? Gloria. Gloria, glorious, glory. I always get I'm in the glory of this beautiful house. And so all the rest are businesses. And so there are many other characters that come and go throughout the week, in the weekend. And then there is, the man who owns the house. And I guess I could really compare the same energy that you're speaking of with how I feel when I am engaging with all these characters. Some of them I realize that me becoming more whole and shifting my energy, it can be scary for them. And because like when a person is one way and then they're not that way anymore, like it throws you off. And of course, then your brain probably goes, what did I do? Or them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I feel, and I just innately have that ability to just piss people off. Because I'm always shifting. I'm a shapeshifter. And so that's what I do. Like 1 minute my energy is this, and then the next minute that is not what I'm that's not what I just got an image of, is like one of the stinky flowers that will like let off some like stinky smoke, from it. And that's always been difficult even for me, because I want to be one way so that people don't have that reaction to me. But I have come to the realization that that's just not who I am, and I can't take it personal, and I have to allow for the space for people to process just what I bring to the table as my personality, who I am. And it seems like everybody is doing well with it. They're very strong. People are very, very the people that I bring in to my inner circle, they are warriors.
Yeah.
Every single one. I was just thinking about that because like the medicine that I bring to the table, it's tough.
Yeah.
And these people are like, it doesn't tear them down. It makes them better. And I'm just like, I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the growth. Even with myself, like I'm ready right now to just kind of coast for a little bit. Like opening the window to the back of the basement is a metaphor. Like all the things that happen in my life, I feel like is a metaphor for the unseen world. And opening that window, it's going to cause a shift, an unknown shift. I don't even know what it's going to do, right? But I know that it's going to be felt for all of the energy that's in here and who it belongs to.
Yeah.
And so I need to like just be conscious and mindful of that and allow for the space for others to be able to process that, because some people don't process the way I do. I'm like very structured in my processing. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get it done. And it's almost like too much even for me. And I'm just like, Tracy, like, come on.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But
slow down.
so as at your previous profession, you were a nurse, and so you had to be very rigid in the process because lives were at stake.
You're right. You're totally right. Yeah. Like we need to get the critical drip going now. We need to assess all the things that are happening right now. We need to make a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
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 All in the welfare of the patient. And so even, the practice has changed with the both of us. Still, those processes have been instilled within us. So we have a clear foundation of treating the trauma,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trauma and the symptoms of many different things, because I guess trauma could be used as an umbrella term for pretty much anything, really. I mean, even a rash on the skin you could call trauma.
Yeah, that's physical trauma. There's
Yeah.
mental trauma, childhood trauma, adult trauma, addiction trauma.
Yeah.
There's trauma is a huge, even eating what you ingest.
Yeah.
Trauma related, a poor relationship with anything outside of yourself is trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finding the root cause of the trauma is what we do. The Band-Aid method just doesn't work anymore.
And I feel like that was what I was doing by going all the way to the farthest part of the basement and making sure that because what I'll explain what I started to do, and then it didn't feel right. And so what I started to do was I started to paint, like there's an entryway into the basement, and I kept seeing the door's red.
Yeah.
To the outside, and I kept seeing that door as a lavender color.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, oh, that door needs to be a lavender color. Okay. And so I asked the guy who owns the house, can I paint the door? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. He pretty much loves anything that I do here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And so when I went to paint the door, I realized, oh, well, I could do the steps too, right? And then I was like thinking, well, let me do the wall. So and then I have to and then it kind of started to grow. And I was like, I'm just going to tend to this entryway. So there's the stairs, and then there's like this little area when you get down before you go into the laundry room, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other rooms that had a lot of old energy in them.
Yeah.
And so as I'm doing this, and I'm like making this little area pretty and nice, and it felt good and expanded, and I kept just having this really awful feeling in my gut that you are not at the root, and you're pretending as if this is the root.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay. Either you're going to do none of it.
Yeah.
You're going to just say, there's another way for me.
Yeah.
Or you're going to go to the root, and you're going to blow shit up. You're going to disrupt things. And that was scary for me, because what are people going to think, and how are people going to react, and all that stuff. And I do feel very safe and supported with Joseph, the owner of the house,
Mm-hmm.
because time and time again, I think he's at a point in his life where he's ready also to look at the root, and I can feel that, right?
Right.
And so I just started to work on that part, and it did uproot everybody, and it was painful for all of us. It was painful for me because nobody liked me, of course, right?
Right. We were meant to disrupt the uncomfortable pain that people were suffering through, and doesn't feel good.
And what I wanted was ultimately that they would just destroy their own shit.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't have to step in and be the destructor.
And that wasn't the case, was it?
No.
No.
The source kept saying to me, well, how I get it is I'll see myself doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I will keep seeing it over and over again. And what I'll do is I will give other people the option to do it.
Yeah.
If they don't do it in a specific amount of time, then I'll do it for them. If it is affecting me.
Uh-huh.
If it's not affecting me, whatever you need to do in life, I'm cool with. But if it's affecting me, we need to have an open dialogue on that, and then we need to figure out how to move forward that's best for everybody. And ultimately, if I didn't have Joseph's support, and I didn't feel that, then I would have made other arrangements to go another way.
Correct. You're right.
Yeah.
So how long did it take for you to build trust with Joseph?
It's been years.
How many?
I'm gonna say it's been. I think we've known each other. I want to say 5 years. I'll say 5 years.
5 years. 5 years to build trust.
Yeah.
No. And this isn't a knock on any profession, but a realization to our viewers that when it comes to holistic care and changes that are meant to be looked at the root cause, there has to be a time frame. It's unlimited to the amount of trust you have to build in order to see the benefit of it because of all the trauma that was there prior to this scenario, So
yeah, and I was talking to another RR member as well, and I think and I believe you also are on the same page with this too, but I give support for my my member for a year.
Yeah, so do I. It's
because I feel like for me, even with being in Ritually Rooted, which is also a PMA, FBO/PMA. If you don't know what that means, look it up.
Look at Tracy, she's so hardcore.
Look it up. Because I didn't know what it meant either. Like, I mean, if someone said faith-based organization, I would think church, but that's not really what it is. A church can be a faith-based organization, can be anything that tends to whatever that faith is.
Right. Yeah. Your ministry. So, contributions are just not, thrown out the window. I mean, being sick is expensive. It is expensive to be sick. Mm-hmm. And when you've tried all kind of stuff to get you whole, you look at the money that you wasted, and it's just like, I want some type of guarantee. I need a guarantee in order to invest in you, but they're not investing in you, they're investing in themselves.
It has to be. I felt like I needed a year for me to go through the cycles that I needed to learn what I would call a new language,
right,
in life. And I feel like I feel like that is what I want to do for others.
Correct. Yes. There are for me and my ministry, there's 4 seasons in a year. And these are for my members who want to work one-on-one with me there, which is separate from the community group stuff that I do. They need, when you're working one-to-one with me, there's more hand holding and coaching and diving deeper into the trauma. So there's 4 seasons in a year. I didn't make the rules up. This is just the way it is. You have winter, spring, summer, and fall. These are seasonal based traumas that need to all unpacked, because we have infancy, we have childhood, we have adolescence, we have young adulthood, and then we have our, adulthood and into our senior years. And this stuff stacks up over time. But one thing that you can guarantee is that these cycles repeat. Trauma repeats. It shows up differently because it's a new trigger that needs to be resolved in order to spiral up instead of spiraling down.
Yeah, and I also feel like I can't rush when it comes to spiritual enlightenment or physical, emotional, mental, spiritual wholeness of any process of any sort. And so ultimately for me, and I even see this with with people as well, all people, is that like you gather what you need to know, the knowledge and
To get started.
application and all of that. And then sometimes on a spiritual level, you are going to go through some type of shedding. And so you're not going to be, sometimes you can apply it right away. And sometimes you need some time to just energetically heal or energetically merge or change or whatever that looks like, whatever that transformation looks like at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I know that it's sometimes it takes me out where I need to spend some time with me. I can't say, oh yeah, okay, I'll meet you next week. I might meet you next week, but I might not be able to do it all, change everything. It's kind of like, what it reminds me of, like when you go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor is like, or anybody, and they're like, all right, I want to see this change by the next time I see you, and we're going to, blah, 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 whatever.
Always 2 weeks. Your 2-week follow-up. Yeah.
And although that is good, sometimes that the universe has other plans.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to make those goals. And then when it comes back to that 2-week period, if you're like, okay, this is what the universe had in store for me, that's what we'll use to figure out to go move forward with, right? Because I'm a human. I'm just a human. And so I am not source. And that is how you bring the spiritual aspect into the healing process of our egoic plans.
Yeah. Right. You got to think about that tree. That trauma is like a tree, and it's rooted so deep, layers upon layers upon layers. You can't get that all in one shot. You cannot. You got to dig deep.
Yeah.
And it's going to be uncomfortable. However,
and joyous, because I have had the most joyous, so after the uncomfortability of like clearing,
yeah,
some of these feelings of like, I get myself back is,
mm-hmm. Yes, it's a different, it's a brand new appreciation
Oh my God. I'm telling all the watchers right now, like it is so worth it. I'm
Yes,
telling you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, you start appreciating yourself and you start realizing that the outside validation really doesn't mean anything the way
Mhm.
that you thought. And then all of a sudden your whole world changes. It just shifts and you start bringing forth the stuff that you want and desire automatically without the effort behind it.
Yeah,
That's exhausting.
exactly.
Yeah, just
Exactly.
automatically
You know
change.
what? When I was in recovery and in early recovery, all the old time we call them old timers.
Yeah.
It would be the elders of any Native community. And when I say the word Native, I don't mean Native American. I mean Native to the earth. And those are the people who can still have a dialogue with the earth itself.
The
And
indigenous people, yeah.
native practice. And
Yeah.
so there's natives and all through the world. And I believe that we all are native at our root, but some of us have just separated from that a bit. But I just got off on a tangent. So what were we talking about?
The root cause, indigenous, native.
Yeah, but before I said the word native, shit. Yeah, it would be really interesting to go back and watch it because I'll be like, oh, that's what I meant.
Yes.
Oh, whatevs.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, anyways, it's just it's important. The work we do is important. And um yeah, I'm checked out. I love it.
yeah.
Sometimes when words leave, right? So I used to, okay, so this has been me my whole life where um I like to believe that source takes things from me when I'm not supposed to say it.
Yes. It doesn't serve.
It doesn't serve. Yeah, right. And so like I used to get really like, and sometimes that feeling comes back, but I can comfort it now where it's like, oh my God, what are people gonna think of you? You're like, you got the red light look like like
I had
you
like,
turn the cameras on and you can't freaking remember any words.
yeah.
But now that is okay. We do not need to have words all the time. And I think the underlining message there is if that happens to you, be kind to yourself.
Right.
It's okay. Like
Yeah.
that was just not supposed to be said. So now you get to focus yourself and everybody else on some of the foundational things like the breath and being kind
Yes.
and the present moment.
Yes. It's not all, you can't always blame menopause. You can't always blame it. Some things you're just supposed to separate with.
So it's been a good one today.
Yeah. It's been a good one. Yeah. I definitely feel this serenity in my space. I could easily lay down and take a nap.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm gonna go to the farmer's market and then I have to go get a couple things we have a wonderful grocery store in Saratoga Springs, New York, which is very close to me, and it's called Healthy Living. There's one in Saratoga and there's one in Vermont, and so we are very lucky to have those. um, it's like it's the healthy version of a grocery store, and it's where I get most of my groceries, but And so that was one thing that I invested for myself was just learning about organic and learning what is important to buy organic and what is not important to buy organic. Because it does get expensive, and so there are some things that it's it's not do or die, but there are also other things like my produce where I just want to have organic produce. And I don't know why we even have to buy organic. Everything should be organic, but that's the world we live in, and so that's how I do it.
Yeah, the world of convenience. It's expensive, and when I changed my diet way back when, I actually started saving money. I thought the food was expensive, yes, but when I didn't have to pay for thyroid medication anymore, when I didn't have to pay for metformin anymore, when I didn't have to pay for I think I was on like 7 different medications at one time. I didn't have to pay for those things anymore. I can see my body just transform, and I could afford to live,
Yeah. Yep.
But before then, I couldn't afford to pay the medications and eat, plant-based living food.
Yeah.
And even your organic meats, I mean, they're expensive.
Yeah. And what I did was I went really slow. And so I'll give a little gift for everybody today. The gift is the first thing that I changed in my diet was that I cut out corn syrup. That was it. That was the first thing. I looked at all the labels. I looked at everything I bought. And if it said corn syrup in it, I did not get it.
Yeah.
I made sure that I had honey and maple syrup in my house.
Right.
Those are the sweeteners I wanted to use.
Yeah. The first thing I did is that I stopped using the seasoning to see what it was I was eating, and I have to say that it tasted like I was just eating chemicals. Gross.
What were you using, like Saison or something?
Oh, whatever I could find to make chemicals taste better. I mean, the salts and stuff that I was using, it just was not good salts. The herbs and stuff that I was using were just junk.
Okay, that is really important. Yes, I love that. The herbs and the salts and stuff like that.
Yes, and so
and the oils too.
And the oils, yeah. So when I stopped using the seasoning to see what I was actually eating, it put my body into like an automatic fast because the food just tastes disgusting and I didn't want to eat it. Well, my body was able to start cleansing itself until I started eating things that had a taste to it. And then I'm like, wow, so this is what it's supposed to taste like. So
we always go through that detox period where it is, it's going to be a shift. And there, if people were, say, our members and we were working with them, there are certain reinforcements that we have available to help with that detox period, and so it's not as hard on the body.
Right. It's not as painful. Exactly. Because I didn't want to return to the habits that were making me sick in the first place, So I decided, I would, it was like a process of elimination subconsciously because I wasn't conscious about it. And then, I ate a piece of bread and it was disgusting. And I had stopped eating that until, I happened to just come across the bread that just seemed to taste good. But in the meantime, what happened was that my joints felt better. It didn't feel like I had erasers in my joints,
Yeah.
And so that's what worked for me. So when I started adding herbs and salts back into my diet, food just tastes so much better. And it felt
Yeah.
like I could just, I just created a healthy relationship with food without even thinking about it, because I had started with the seasoning first.
Yeah, that's great. Love that.
Yeah.
So, are we good? We good for today?
We are good. And once again, this is Tagg, holistic artist with kitsmyartsy.com. And I'm here with,
Hi, I'm Tracy, and I'm with the motherhouse.org.
and so information about us will be pinned in the pinned comments. All right. We'll catch you next video.
Okay, see ya.